A few days ago, I tweeted out that I wouldn't be surprised if Baker Mayfield doesn't start for a single NFL team this year. And no, that's not because he stinks at playing quarterback. It's more because he has just been dealt a horrific hand. We're going to get to all of that in just a sec. Before we get to the content, I recently started a brand new venture where I'm going to be discussing more general topics, not on this channel, but on Flight Mike TV, which is my third channel for more general non-sports content. And currently we're giving away $500 to anyone that subscribes and turns on their notifications on that channel. Huge shout out to the last $500 winner, Johnny Henry. And we're going to be doing $500 giveaways every 2 weeks for either someone that follows me on Instagram, subscribes and turns on their notifications on this channel, or someone that has their subscriptions and notifications on for that channel. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I am still wrapping my head around what happened with Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. I would have never imagined that Deshaun Watson would have picked the Cleveland Browns over any other team in the NFL. I personally thought he was going to go to the Saints. Eventually, I convinced myself that he was going to the Falcons. The Cleveland Browns do make a lot of sense from the standpoint of how talented their team is offensively and defensively, and from the standpoint of him getting $230 million guaranteed. Now, what started as a pipe dream for the Cleveland Browns, which is improving their quarterback position, which I personally think this past year, my current opinion of Baker Mayfield is his floor is slightly below average and his ceiling is slightly above average as a QB, just speaking in very general terms. But the Cleveland Browns were able to improve at that position significantly, which kind of makes Baker Mayfield a lame duck QB. It's really unfortunate, man, because the arguments for Baker Mayfield do make a lot of sense. On one hand, this is a guy that has had probably the most successful team that he possibly could have had built around him. He had great wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, running backs, head coach. That entire defense was stacked this past year, and he wasn't able to really get any significant progress done in 2 years with the team. Now, the counter argument to that is, well, last year, not this past year, but the year before, Baker Mayfield has led the Cleveland Browns to their most successful season in possibly 2 decades since they re-entered the NFL as the new Cleveland Browns by defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers, a division rival, in the playoffs last year. I mean, I can't imagine how much happier Browns fans were than to see this become a meme. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger looking down, disappointed and sad at how far the Steelers came, the fact that they started out on a win streak and then inevitably lost. That came at the hands of Baker Mayfield. And it's crazy what an entire season can do. I mean, going into this season, Baker Mayfield was riding high. He had tremendous momentum to potentially get a long-term extension with the Cleveland Browns, but this year was a make or break year. He was coming off of an impressive season and playoff appearance. He finished the campaign with a top 10 QBR and Pro Football Focus grade, and one injury-filled campaign later, he has no value whatsoever. It's just crazy to me that this is where Baker Mayfield has gotten to. If you just look at Baker Mayfield last year, he was one of the most accurate QBs in the NFL. He was 29 of 52 on deep passes, which was first out of 31 quarterbacks. He had the second highest on-target throw percentage in the NFL this year, while minimum 45 attempts before his injury. And just seeing a situation where the Cleveland Browns were asking for a higher draft pick, but at the end, no team wants to take on Baker Mayfield's contract and are requesting that the Cleveland Browns offload a draft pick to trade Baker Mayfield, to me sounds absolutely insane. Now look, I'm not saying he's a bona fide superstar, but I am saying that he is a lot better than some of the quarterbacks that currently have starting positions in the NFL. He went into a season where from the start, it was just really bad. From a shoulder injury to him being sabotaged by Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad, to Odell Beckham Jr. leaving him and then experiencing tremendous success and winning a Super Bowl, might I add, to even Odell Beckham Jr. saying that he is open to returning to the Browns now that Baker Mayfield is gone. Apparently, Jarvis Landry is down to come back and team up with Deshaun Watson as well. I can't imagine a person whose reputation that has been more sabotaged this past year than Baker Mayfield. So what is the market for Baker looking like? Well, this is where things get really interesting. There are teams that clearly have a quarterback that is significantly worse than Baker Mayfield. I mean, without a doubt, if you're going to ask me Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, I'm going to say Baker Mayfield. But the Carolina Panthers apparently don't feel the same way because they are apparently not interested in Baker Mayfield at all. It is funny because originally the Browns wanted a first round pick in exchange for Mayfield. It looks like he might get cut like straight out right. And that's according to Jake Trotter, and I was anticipating this a couple of days ago, who says he thinks Baker Mayfield will get released instead of traded at this point. Even Adam Schefter said that if the Browns think that they are going to get a premium draft pick for Baker Mayfield, they are mistaken. So what does the future hold for Baker? This is my personal prediction. I can't figure out a delicate way of saying it because I feel like Baker Mayfield's situation is so complicated. No team is going to be excited about giving even a late round draft pick, like a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick, for a QB whose momentum is at an all-time low. And I'm not saying that's warranted because I think whoever signs Baker Mayfield or trades for Baker Mayfield is getting an absolute steal. I feel like a lot of his situation is as a result of circumstance, and he has proven to me in the past that when you put him in a good situation, he is capable of performing. I mean, if you just take a look at his statistics, last year he had his best year to date, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions with a 63% completion percentage, and his rookie year he was fairly solid as well. The other 2 years there were legitimate reasons as to why he wasn't performing well. Last year being his shoulder injury, and in 2019 being that he didn't really have a, no offense, but a good head coach. I also don't think the Cleveland Browns looked at Baker Mayfield and said, hey, we're done with Baker. I feel like it was more of a circumstantial thing where you could get yourself a transcendent quarterback, which I guess due to recency bias, which I think the entire point of this video is how recency bias has sabotaged a man's reputation. A lot of people forgot how freaking good Deshaun Watson was on the Houston Texans, where he didn't have the greatest supporting cast, but he didn't have a horrific supporting cast. He had Brandon Cooks as his top wide receiver and some other average to above average wide receivers, and he made them look absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he threw for over 4,800 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions in a year where he lost his true number 1 wide receiver. And I feel like when you have that opportunity and you factor in the fact that Deshaun Watson is the same age as Baker Mayfield, then of course you have to take a chance on Deshaun Watson because he is, in my opinion, several orders of magnitude better than Baker Mayfield as a QB. All in all, what do I think is going to happen to Baker? Well, if he gets released, I could see the Seahawks potentially signing him and he'll easily win the starting job in Seattle. He does have some great wide receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. His head coach is probably going to employ a conservative philosophy where he wants to run the ball first, which is the huge reason why Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson didn't get along with one another to begin with. And Baker would just be tasked with being a high-end game manager, which I feel like with enough repetitions and enough practice with DK Metcalf, I feel like he could thrive in Seattle. The Colts obviously traded for Matt Ryan recently. I didn't think Baker would have been a fit with the Indianapolis Colts because they recently had an experiment with a similar type of QB. You know, not that Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield are the same type of QB, but a quarterback that was once a high draft pick who has had some good years in his career. Due to specific reasons, he didn't perform well recently, so the Colts figured, hey, let's trade for him and bring him in and see whether or not he could perform well for us. And it didn't work out. And I guess they just don't want to do that with Baker Mayfield, which I understand why they would opt for Matt Ryan over Baker Mayfield if that's the case. I think the Seahawks are in a good position to get him. Apparently the Pittsburgh Steelers are incredibly interested in acquiring Baker Mayfield if he hits free agency. I think that would be a home run acquisition for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, you're getting a former number 1 overall pick, 26 years old, definitely embodies the city's attitude. Pittsburgh is all about grinding and is all about hard work. I see Baker Mayfield fitting in really well over there, working with a great head coach and Mike Tomlin, having some stability there. You have a great wide receiver in Chase Claypool. Pat Freiermuth is definitely on the up and up. You have Najee Harris as well. You get some offensive linemen in Pittsburgh and business is going to be booming. Yeah, you're going to have to beat out Mitchell Trubisky, and if Mitchell Trubisky beats you in a QB competition, then you're going to be relegated to a career backup for the rest of your life, but that's besides the point. I feel like if he goes to Pittsburgh or Seattle, life's going to be good. A huge domino that needs to fall in order for us to get some clarity on this situation is what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. Are the San Francisco 49ers going to end up trading Jimmy Garoppolo? If so, where is he going to get traded to? I can't imagine the Seattle Seahawks trading for Jimmy G because I feel like that would just marginally improve the team at best, and I don't think they would give up a third-round pick for that. I could see the Steelers going for it, but again, marginal improvement of the team in general. I don't think Jimmy G is going to be the difference between the Steelers winning a Super Bowl and them not winning a Super Bowl. So it's really hard to imagine where Jimmy Garoppolo could get traded. Maybe the Panthers, I can imagine that maybe. I'm unsure. Huge domino that needs to fall for us to get some clarity on Baker's situation. But needless to say, I've said in my videos in the past that quarterbacks are a product of circumstance. It doesn't matter if you're Baker Mayfield, Brady Quinn, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes. Drafting a good QB is only half the battle. It's up to the team to put him in a situation to succeed. And even then, it's up to the quarterback to perform in that successful situation. And hopefully there are no outside factors that affect his performance. I feel like that's why we all love football so much. What's on paper doesn't necessarily translate to instant success. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about Baker's situation, man. I'm hoping for the best for him. Typically, whenever he's down low, he has this chip on his shoulder and he comes back and fights with a vengeance. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.